Hello everyone. Hi, my dear students. Today again I have this wonderful opportunity to share a screen with a very beloved student of mine, and I can say this with conviction. She is somebody whom I have known since last 4 years, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And she had been a student with us during her undergraduation days. She has been in touch with me while she was preparing, after the results, waiting for the counseling, and then finally opting for anesthesia as a branch for post graduation. And then we reunited again last year when she became a student of my resident masterclass. So I introduce you Dr. Prakriti Singh. Welcome, Dr. Prakriti.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So she has done her MBBS from Medical College Calcutta, and then she has done her MD anesthesia from RNT Udaipur, and she has recently passed her MD in first attempt with flying colors. And I'm very glad and very proud of her, not only because she managed to do this MBBS and then PG that we all want to ultimately clear, but she also had a very terrible accident, which was not her fault, when she was preparing after her undergraduation for the entrance exam, for which she underwent multiple surgeries. And with that pain, and then she had that element of chronic pain, and then she had a lot of sleepless nights. But and we spoke during that time, and I vividly remember she always kept saying that I will get over this, I will become better, and I will eventually come back. To see her after so many years achieve something so great with this smile that she has right now, the same smile she had that time as well, it's a commendable effort. So heartiest congratulations, Prakriti, and
Thank
it's an honor, frankly, to be sharing this screen, because very few people have this courage to get over a physical element in life,
you.
and then to come out of it, become a part of a group, be normal, and then eventually go on to achieve something like this. So really commendable for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
So take us through your journey now. Tell us about little bit about that thing, and then your PG, and then how did you approach your post graduation?
So actually, in 2020, I met with this accident, and it was a road traffic accident. I had fractured my zygomatic bone. It was a tripod fracture, along with all walls of maxillary sinus was broken and orbital bones were broken. So I was kept in ICU for, I guess, 11 days. And the major reconstructive surgery that I underwent was for 8 hours, lasted for 8 hours. And doctors had told me for the first 48 hours I was kept in ICU with a very heavy sedation and antibiotics. So today somebody asked me what happened in that 48 hours. I frankly don't remember,
No,
because I don't have any memory of that. After that, I was in ICU and they waited for the swelling to come down. They did an 8 hour surgery. That was the first surgery that I underwent on, in I guess, 14th of July 2020. That was the first surgery. And just after my surgery, I was discharged after a month. And after a month, I came to know that I have facial nerve injury as well, which was not diagnosed earlier. So then the actual journey started. I had got my PG seat that year in OBGY, but when I tried to contact everybody, they said that they won't be able to give me more than 3 months of leave in residency, and I might have to repeat a year. So I was like, if I'm anyways going to repeat a year, why not give it a try again, rather focus on my health at that point of time, which was the prime objective at that point for me. And then I'll attempt the exam again. But it was, I guess, a battle of 1.5 years that I fought at that point of time. I underwent 6 months of physiotherapy, 3 months of electrical physiotherapy for my facial nerves, because the doctors had said that if it doesn't recover, it might not recover as well, because they don't know what grade of injury I have. I was having ptosis, I was having ectropions, my eyelids was not moving, I could not open my mouth properly. So the nerve was gone completely, and doctors were like, if it doesn't recover, it might not recover. It's a 50-50 kind of chance. So they did electrical therapy, they did physiotherapy. I underwent 6 months of physiotherapy and then started recovering. I was put on vitamin B12 tablets and everything. I went to neurologist, I went to my physiotherapist, and by that point of time, I gave the NEET PG exams were continuously getting postponed. And during that time, I came to know that during the surgery, they raised a flap from my scalp. So they did a non-invasive kind of surgery. They just opened my bitemporal flap and they raised it. But the problem that I faced after the surgery, after 2 to 3 months, was that my temporal fat was gone. So I had actually a asymmetrical face at that point of time because there was no temporal fats. So I underwent again a second surgery just before 1 month before my NEET PG exam, because I was keeping it postponed because PG was supposed to happen in March and I couldn't do it. I had to wait for 6 months. I took a decision that I'll give my exams first and then do the surgery, but I kept on delaying and the exam also got delayed. So at last I had to take a decision that I need to do this surgery right now because it's essential. So just, I guess, 25 days before the NEET PG exam, I went for the surgery, second surgery. I did the surgery. I went to give the exam with a swollen face, I guess, at that point of time, because I had all the packings and everything. So I removed it and I went to give the exam. I cleared the exam and then I went for my third surgery just before joining the PG. 1 month before joining the PG, I went for the third surgery for reconstruction of the temporal fat and for facial symmetry. I still go for the follow-ups because I am supposed to have a chronic pain. The areas, my nerves have still not recovered properly. The upper lip area is still numb. I don't feel anything here. And the temporal fat is like I can't lose 5 kgs or gain more than 5 kgs. So I have to maintain a weight balance so that the fat that is being used as a graft stays there and it doesn't get dissolved. Otherwise, I'll have to again undergo a surgery for that. So it's like it's a lifelong type of chronic illness that I have right now. But it is what it is. It's life. It's never fair to anybody. You have to live with it. And I was positive that time also that I'll do it. So it's a saying that pain is inevitable, but misery is a choice. So I am not ready to choose that miserable part. So it's okay, it's fine. I have the pain constantly. I know I cannot bear the continuous surgery wala part ki, matlab I am in OT for about 12 hours, 14 hours. I cannot do that thing like a surgeon does. So I have come across with this thing that I need to balance my life with my work. That's the only thing that I can do. So I've accepted it, but it's fine.
Wonderful. It's a very, very heart-wrenching as well as a very motivational journey that you have. So then when you started your post-graduation, so it was the time when you were obviously much more in pain than you are in right now.
Yeah.
How did you manage? How did you go about your post-graduation?
So frankly, at that point of time, I had clearly told my seniors that I have this issue. I have had my surgery and I'm being put on medication. I was put on heavy sedatives also at that time. I was put on painkillers. I was given vitamin tablets, vitamin B12, pregabalin. I was on that. So I've told them ki I'll do the whole duty. I will never say that I'm not doing. But the thing that my mother always taught was never tell your pain to other people who don't know you that well, because more than being compassionate, they will talk about it. Oh, she's making a type of excuse. She'll not do it. So I just said them that I have this issue that sometimes I might not feel well, just that. I won't do it or I can't do it was never on my lips for last 3 years. I have worked as much as I could. So that was never an issue. And at that point of time, it was difficult because we had a duty of 6 hours in the morning. And then if it's a day emergency, then it again is 6 hours. So which is 12 hours. And if we had a night emergency, it was of 18 hours. We don't get a night off in our college. So managing that was difficult. But I guess at the end, I did it somehow. That was my willpower at that point of time that I have to do it. I have to learn. Ki ho jayega, I can do it. So I went on with, I ignored the pain a lot of time. Just that.
And then how did you approach your exams? Let's talk about how you did in your exams. You recently cleared your exams. So tell us about your journey of how did you start preparing and what did you do and what was a general idea? When did you start preparing?
So I guess I was the first person to contact you just after joining residency, that whether you are starting any course for the
You
residency.
were one of those initial people
Yeah.
who pushed me that I should start it.
Yeah. So I started, and in that time, I guess you told me, sir, that you'll be starting it. So
Yeah.
you started it. After that, I joined the program, I guess, in last August to September. I took a 6 months plan because by that time, you also said that it's already started and everything. So I joined the plan, and till that point, I had done some classes from ISA, which were there on the YouTube.
On the YouTube,
Yeah.
yes.
So one of my seniors told me that it's free and they do a weekly or a monthly class, and it's informative class. So I was doing with that, but I always wanted to join this residency class. And in last September, so I basically my exam was supposed to be in January, and I joined it in September. So I knew I had a very less crunch of time of about 4 months, that I have to complete a whole syllabus of 3 years.
Yeah.
It's very huge, but I guess the videos helped me a lot. And most importantly, you always said that make your own notes.
Own notes, yes.
So I guess there were many people, many juniors of mine also, who said that, boss, you are making notes right now. When will you study? Okay, when will you memorize? But my idea of the whole thing was that while I'm writing the notes, I'm listening to you, I'm registering it in my mind. So the next time when I'm reading the note, I am actually not blank. I actually know what you said at that moment in the video. I'm writing it down, I'm understanding it, and the second time when I'm revising it, it's there in my mind. At least something is there in my mind. If I don't revise it 3 or 4 times, still I'll be able to produce that answer in the answer sheet.
Yeah.
And frankly, the notes were from pre-operative to intraoperative to post-operative, everything, how the evaluation is done, what all we do, what all things in intraoperative, also starting from induction to maintenance to reversal to extubation to post-op care, whether the patient needs to be taken in ICU or not taken. Everything is there in just the way it needs to be written in the answer sheet. It's just that way. And I've exactly produced the same thing in my answer sheets. So I've just done that. And yeah, time 4 months is quite less, but I guess I tried to cover. I didn't cover. I frankly said I'll not. I hadn't covered the drugs wala part because I was already writing the drugs notes since my first year from the stolting, directly from the stolting. So I had that drugs wala thing with me. But the cases such as the TEF wala case and all the cardiac cases that was done, everything, the geriatric one, the diabetes one, everything was there in the notes and in the video. And as the video used to come, I used to just jot it down that okay, this is the thing. And then I started the video. Maybe I'm seeing it at 1.5 speed, but I'm jotting down every point. I'm understanding what's being said by you, what is to be written by me, and what is to be produced in the exam. In fact, for some answers, you said that this portion I can leave if it's a 5 mark question.
Yes,
and
yes.
if it's a 10 mark question, then I need to write the whole thing. So if you don't write it down on your own, you don't listen to the videos carefully, you won't actually understand. Just the notes, yeah, notes is also there, the ones that you have put. But again, writing, making your own notes is something that I find it better. Take as much time out. I used to study, I guess, after coming from my duties, the last of the few months, we were not relieved that early. We were relieved late. So I used to come at 9 o'clock, or if I'm getting a free time during my duty also, I used to make the notes. After duty, I used to try I at least cover one video today. Be it if the duty is there till 9 o'clock, then I used to cover the small ones, the ones that is there are some videos which are in 40-45 minutes.
Yeah, 40 minutes, 25 minutes, 30
that
minutes.
You can easily cover after 9 o'clock also. So you need to manage. Okay, just then you are getting free after 3 o'clock. You cover the big ones, the ones that are of 2 hours or 1 hour or 1.5 hours, and the way day which you are getting late, relieved late, You can cover the small ones. There are videos which are 30 minutes. The one that is upon coronary circulation, I guess it's just of 30 minutes.
Yes.
So you can cover those videos easily in 30 minutes. And one of your big answer, coronary circulation comes as a 5-mark question also, can come as a 10-mark question
also. Yes.
So you can easily cover the whole 10-mark, and 10-mark question is a big amount. So you can cover a big answer from that one. So I used to do that. I managed my timing like that. And I was making notes from your videos till end of December as well. I started revising that notes again and again. But I was making notes. I was trying to revise the ones that I have previously made in the September or October so that I don't forget those. So by the time I reached, my exam was in 15th January, started on 15th January. By the time I reached January, I had actually revised your notes almost 3 times along with ISA notes. Few topics such as pheochromocytoma and all thyroids were in that platform. It was given good. I had revised the notes, I guess, almost 320 times. And I have 6 notebooks with me that I guess I'll be keeping it till the end.
For your entire life.
It is for my entire life because I know I can, anywhere if I'm stuck also, I can go back, see them, and then come back again. Because rather than going to books and finding what is the source and everything, I know that sir has done a research on this and then has come up with all the things that, and this is authenticated one. It's obviously from the book, and then only it's been given to me. So I'll better go to my notes, catch the thing up, okay, where am I missing, and then I can go back to work. So I am going to keep those notes till the end. So that is a treasure to me.
I can't tell you how happy I am to listen to this, because you have practically said everything that I say in those videos regarding my concept of writing notes and what I tell you to include in a 5-mark versus a 10-mark. What is the pattern you have to follow for writing any clinical question? So I can't tell you, I'm just overwhelmed. Usually what happens is, because I'm teaching online and I'm teaching from home and you guys are not in front of me, sometimes when I'm talking these things, I feel that I am talking to myself only. Like nobody is paying attention to me. Like I keep saying these things and then I feel that, yaar, maybe nobody wants to listen these talks from me. All they want is the content. But then I'm so happy that you have not only listened to them, but you have tried to imbibe it. And you must have realized that even till end, if you are writing notes, when you go in the exam, your hands automatically move better. And you don't feel tired in writing something, because 4 months, if you don't write, and suddenly in the exam, you have to write 4 papers for 3 hours every day, it becomes a huge task. Your mind might be working, but your hands stop working. So despite of knowing a right answer, remembering everything, you still write a very bad answer because you're like, "Arey yaar, aur likha nahi ja raha mere se." So I'm very, very happy with that, with all the things that you have imbibed. And yes, that was the whole idea of me also writing with you. Otherwise, it would have been very easy for me just to type down everything and just explain the concept and move on. But and just so that you guys don't feel bad about it, I'm just, kind of, I could have written it earlier when I have time, and then
that is the most important thing, that you are writing with us.
Yes.
So in the live class, somebody is writing, the teacher is writing along with you. So at least the bare minimum that a student can do is just write along with the teacher. So it's not that बहुत ज़्यादा time लग रहा है. When you are writing, we are also writing. We can complete the same topic at the speed that you are completing. So if you're completing it 45 minutes, I'm also completing it in 40, maximum 50 minutes.
And anyway, if we sit and read, we never complete a topic in 45 minutes. Because when we read a book has huge volume. And we don't want to read everything and remember everything. So the extract is the most important thing. So that is what I keep telling, that once you are doing a video, then don't think of a textbook. Then don't think that I'll go back to the article and then I'll again read it from somewhere. A lot of students, they message me asking कि सर ये तो आपने पढ़ा दिया, अब इसको और कहाँ से पढ़ना है? I'm like, अगर मैंने पढ़ा दिया तो इसके बाद every textbook and every article that is available easily and on internet has been covered. But ultimately we want to concise things, and I think that is what helps a student most in the exam, whether your thought process is concise or not. Because I think even if you remember everything about a topic, let's say pheochromocytoma, you can't reproduce it in
everything can't be reproduced. You
yes.
are bound to forget some things when you are writing. We have a pattern of 10 questions, 10 marks in Rajasthan within 3 hours.
3 hours.
So practically they are giving a whole thyroid. If they gave us retrosternal thyroid for 10 marks, so we have to write the whole retrosternal thyroid for 10, and it's not actually 10 questions. It is 12, 5 marks. Okay, they have put 4 questions. So it's practically 12 questions that they are giving for 10 marks in 3 hours, which is not possible to cover. So you're bound to forget something or the else when you're writing a whole 10-mark question, because you have to write it very fast. And that point of time, when if you have seen the videos, if you have made your own notes, if you have your own notes, you will at least not forget the bullet points.
Yes.
You cannot forget that you have to use a flexometallic tube for retrosternal goiter, or you have to extubate the patient while doing cuff leak test. You can't forget all these things. And most importantly, the videos helped me to frame other answers as well. That was the biggest positive point that I could find from the DAMS videos, was that I was able, the topics which were not covered by that time, also there were some topics which were left out for, and my exam was there. But I knew that if sir has written it, if TEF is being written in the pattern of, okay, the history needs to be taken, then what are the problems with the child? I have to cover the congenital anomalies, all the things. What are the things that needs to be done preoperatively for the congenital anomalies, then intraoperative, then postoperative. That means anything that comes with a congenital anomaly needs to be written in that way exactly.
And we have discussed a lot of themes like this in pediatric, in obstetric, in geriatric. Irrespective of what problem comes, you know, you have to write these points.
You have to write. The approach needs to be in the same way. So even if cleft palate is not covered, or if it's been left out, if you could not cover cleft palate, you know that you have to first cover the congenital anomalies associated, what needs to be done preoperatively, how the patient, and the same pattern you'll have to produce the rest of the answers. So it becomes very easy to understand how the other answer needs to be written and what the examiner wants from you. Exactly what he wants if it's a pediatric case, what he wants if it's a geriatric case. Everything is given that way. So it becomes very easy. And I have done that thing with a lot of answers. I've framed my own answers, but I've exactly framed it the way that was given in the video.
We have discussed, yes. Yeah. Wonderful. And how was your practical experience? What was different from theory and practical? Because you have that university practical in your own college, right?
Yeah, we have that. Practicals, we had a table of long case and 2 short cases. It was a chit system based thing that we have to take 2 short case, and there was one table which had all the instruments and a CPR machine, and another table was having the Viva tables, was having all the drugs, the scientist photographs, all the flashcards and everything. So it was that. So basically, I prepared for the long case in the way that major of the long case, as because it's a government hospital, many times we don't get that many cases. So we have an idea of the type of long cases that's coming to us, because we have seen our seniors also having those type of long cases only, and the super seniors also having same cases. So we're prepared the same way. Long cases were majorly MS, rheumatic heart disease, obstructive jaundice, and retrosternal. Those are long questions as well. So we read in depth all these topics. We read in depth. For short cases also, we know that we don't have a burn and plastic part, was not running at that point of time. So we know we won't get a bone contracture anyway. So you can leave out that thing. Cleft palate, you can leave out. Plastic wala, again, departments come into play. But again, hydrocephalus and all these will come. So short cases also was case based. So many of the cases also I consulted the video for. I did my hydrocef and all from the ISA classes. So I used those classes. Hydrocef, by the end, I guess the thing was done. You also uploaded the videos of pediatrics. So I couldn't make the note at that time, but I made sure that I see the video. I see the video before my exam, at least before the theory also, I see the video, and then I at least have a knowledge that it's the same thing, or I can add something more in my answer, okay, or viva. So I did that thing, and that was the short case. Rest, supraglottic airway device was the best notes. That was the first note that I have made from your videos, and it was by heart for me. Starting from the classification, I guess I mentioned you also once, the third generation classification by one of my professors. Asking where did you get it, and all. So it was by heart.
Because that is a controversy that I was very deeply involved in with one of my professors in DNB, and he just wanted to prove me that Baska is a third generation. So I actually went into the text and I took about a week to find out that what is this third generation and what. And ultimately, I found that conversation between both and that is what you asked me specifically. And I specifically quoted you that article because I knew कि ये बहुत लोगों को misconception है that it's a third generation supraglottic. So, and anyway, supraglottic was my thesis topic. So I anyway specialized in it because I read everything and I wrote my thesis by hand. I literally wrote. I had this habit of writing since college. So for my thesis, I did not want to plagiarize. And of course, we didn't have ChatGPT way back in 2016. So what I did was I used to open 4 articles, 5 articles, textbooks. And I used to read 1 article, 2nd article, 3rd article, 4th article, then close them, close my eyes. And then whatever I read from those 4 articles, I used to write it down. So I literally wrote my thesis with hand and I got it proofread and corrected from my guide in the notebook, not on laptop.
Okay.
So she took a red pen and she used to say, remove this, add this. And then my thesis, I typed as a final manuscript. And then when I went to her, she said it is perfect and she just signed it. So I know because I did a deep research on supraglottic airway devices.
So I took obviously a supraglottic only because I was well versed in that. So supraglottic only. There was instrument. Many I had people said, "Tere paas instruments ke bhi notes hai." I said, "Yeah, I've done those classes." Because I had made notes on laryngoscopes, I had made notes on tubes, flexometallic tubes. Everything was done. So I, at the end of the practical, I guess I went through those notes only. I didn't open the book because I knew everything is from the book, so I don't have to just open the book. Otherwise, I just went through the notes because there not so much of time you get before the theory, in between the theory and practical of MD exams. You don't get that much time that you can give or donate a proper 5 hours or 6 hours to just instruments. So you have to be very fast with it. So I'd read it earlier while making the notes, and after that also I once revised.
And that is one of the best parts about making your own notes. Things happen very fast. You spend more time in writing them. But once you have written them, then every subsequent revision is like half the previous time. So by the time you are on 3rd or 4th read, it happens like 10 minutes a topic is getting over.
I remember, I guess I did the supraglottic from that, vasopressors from the video. I did a laryngoscope, CT tube, DLT, all the major ones that comes over. I've done from the videos. I made my own notes, and then I just went through the whole notes within 2 hours. I just completed the instruments wala portion. I was done with it. I know that instruments is done. I don't have to look back at that. And drugs, I had my own notes from Stolting. So I just went through that notes, and the CPR wala portion was other. Anesthesia machine also I had my own notes. I guess for the table viva, I didn't open any book. I had everything in my notes. I just went through notes within an hour or 2 hours. I just completed it. My major focus was on the long case and short case that covers the maximum marks. So my major focus was on that, and then the long viva, the major viva of 80 marks. Major focus was on those. I knew it's 50-50 marks ka tables, and I know I have read that much. I have notes, so I need to cover it very fast so that I can at least give proper answers. I don't do big blunders with that. You just don't have to do big blunders with it. Otherwise,
practical is all about sailing through. Like, don't say anything that is going to kill the patient.
Yes.
So once you manage to do that, then they barely fail any student, because their idea is also same. We should not go out and we should kill people.
Yeah.
So they're like, हाँ ये spinal में 4 ml से ज़्यादा drug नहीं देगा, मतलब इसको spinal आता है.
हाँ. So table vivas 50-50 marks. I knew that my notes are enough to cover those major things, and they won't ask something outside that. It has covered almost the major 4 points. My major focus was on the long case, short case, and the major grand viva. That was the major focus. Rest everything was in the notes.
Wonderful. Prakriti, you are a very, very intelligent girl, and I feel so happy because most of the times we don't plan these things so well, and we just start reading from one end, and then when the exam comes nearby, we are only struggling to pass. But I see that you thought about it very well, and the moment you started, you knew that the long term picture would be to write everything, to keep your own notes so that you can think of a week before the exam. And that is what I always keep saying, and I'm very happy that somebody is listening to me. Frankly, I feel relieved that you guys are listening to me, and ultimately it's all your hard work, and I'm very, very happy. And I'm sure whosoever is listening to this, they have few months before their DNBs, and there are few diploma students who have their exam in April, May, June, July. So I wish that they listen to your approach and they get inspired, that despite of duties, despite of uh, illness, despite of pain, despite
I
of
remember during my MD exams also, my mother came for my MD exams, and during my MD exam also, I've been studying till 2 or 3 o'clock at the night, and it was winters. Bone pain is terrible during winters,
winters.
and I remember crying 3 o'clock at night, and I'm waking up my mother that it is my face is burning, it is paining like hell, and I can't take any kind of painkillers because I might sleep the next day. I can't
Because
take
anyway, neuropathic pain doesn't get treated by non-sedative analgesics, and sedative analgesics will make you not
I
study.
won't be able to complete my paper tomorrow, so I can't take any painkiller. I can't leave the thing at that point of time. I was like, I have cried before my papers that I am not able to bear this pain. Do something with it. And then she got the ice and everything I applied, and then I went on with the night. I completed my exam the next day. So this bone pain is terrible during
So
winters.
it's so inspiring. I can't tell you, because we keep making excuses. Frankly, we have never suffered anything even remotely near to what you have. And we keep making excuses for silly things, for not studying, for not doing the things that we are supposed to do. But this is something which everyone should learn, because we only realize the importance of something once it is gone. So you have understood that thing, that being pain free, being normal, being somebody with no problems is so precious, that every moment with you now, you cherish that thing, and that is what makes you so special. So Prakriti, I'm really, really very happy, and thank you so much for giving us this time, my students and everybody. And I'll send you the link. It would be very, very happy to listen to your journey. You are a rock star, and it's an honor and pleasure to know you over these years.
Thank you so much, sir. And
So
I'll be connected with DAMS for my EDAC also.
always, always, always. We'll plan something for EDAC also now.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Chalo, thank you so much. God bless you, and be in touch.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.